Don't tell me. I've looked up way more huddles than you.
Your analysis isn't that great. Anyways, here we go. 3, 2, 1. We're live, everybody. Thank you for listening. Welcome to Hear the Spirit, presented to you by NoleGameday. We are here on this wonderful Thursday evening. Football is literally to the left of me. I'm watching the Steelers versus the Cowboys, watching my Steelers, seeing my future rookie Hall of Famer. And no, actually, before we jump into any of that talk, let's go and welcome in. What's up, Qae'shon? How you doing, man?
What's good? How y'all doing?
What's up?
Doing fantastic, man. We just went live, but we're perfectly good. We can introduce you in, but we got 2022 4-star offensive line commit Qae'shon Sapp with us this evening, man. Good to hear from you. I know we've been talking on Instagram and such, but it's good to actually talk to you in person.
Oh yeah. Great talking to y'all. Gotta get some good light, man. This light is horrible.
No, you're good.
That's better.
You're good. Nah, man. But how have things been? I know that you just told me that you're gearing up for a game tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, man. I got a spring game. Well, not really a spring game, but a scrimmage game against Colquitt tomorrow, just to see where we are as a team and not only as individuals. So we're just trying to see where we're gonna be at this season.
How are you? How is everything going? You obviously were visiting Florida State quite a bit. We'll get to that in a minute. But what are you? How was your off season? I should say. Any things that you're working on, getting ready for the season personally?
I'm really just trying to get ready for the end game speed. Really, trying to get into end game shape. Not really just in shape in general, but as an end game shape, like the game speed and being able to go hard for like 4 quarters without getting tired, and being able to let my teammates depend on me and not just everybody else. I want to be able to be the main person on the team because I'm a leader, and I want everybody to feed off my energy.
Yeah. So, what's up, man? I'm Nate. We appreciate having you on. My first question is, over this offseason, you've kind of learned how to, snap the ball. You played guard, you played tackle. And there's been some debate around, FSU fans on what you're coming in as or what they've talked to you as. So can you, address that? Are you coming in as a tackle, guard, or what does Coach Atkins talk to you about and how he sees you fitting on the offensive line at FSU?
Necessarily right now, we've been just talking about the interior. Because we have we got tackles this year. We got Early. Mm-hmm. We got Antavius Woody. We got Kanaya. We got Lou. We got Darcy Richardson, and we got some other guys coming that we're not gonna speak on that. I've been recruiting.
We'll get to that part. We're gonna pick your brain. So we're gonna pick your brain on a few things.
I've been recruiting, but mainly the interior game. I'll probably center, probably guard. I mean, it's gonna switch in between there, but mainly guard right now because that's what I'm more focused on because I got some things up my sleeve right now.
Yeah. So follow-up question is, I've always thought that quarterback and center are the 2 hardest positions in football. Mainly because you're making the calls and all that kind of stuff. So how has that adjustment been? Learning how to snap and trying to learn that part of the game.
Well, what I like necessarily. The smartest people on the field are the offensive linemen, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not biased, but in my opinion, the smartest players on the field are offensive linemen because we have the brains. We have to make calls. You have to see it, literally everything, especially at center. Center is a hard position, like you said. It's one of the hardest positions on the field because you have to make sure you're having everybody on track at the same time, moving as one heartbeat. That's one of the old sayings. Everybody got to move as one heartbeat. So you got to make sure that everybody's moving at the same pace and at the same speed. So. And then knowing their job in the direction they need to be moving in, and I mean it's not hard. I've been doing it over the summer this year, and I mean I'm adjusting to it. The only thing that's probably complicated is like trying to picture the overhangs at center because you're an interior, you're inside the box. The only thing you need to be focused on is whoever's inside the box, the Mike, the Will, and the Sam. So it's like for you got to be able to picture out You got a spur on the outside that's probably faking the coverage on the wide receiver, but he's blitzing the outside corner, like a corner blitz basically. So it's hard sometimes picking that up because the game is moving so fast. It's just fast. So it's hard to pick it up sometimes, but it's an adjustment. So I mean, I get used to it.
And, while we're talking about your senior season, last year you started on a Lee County team that finishes a state runner-up. So just how confident are you that you guys are going to be able to turn the corner this time around?
I mean, I'm very confident in my team this year. I'm never going to doubt my team because that's if you're doubting your team, then you don't have no self-confidence for yourself or your team. But I feel like we're gonna be good this year. This is why we're playing in this scrimmage game tomorrow to see where we are at as a team, and seeing what we need to do to improve to make our calls better and our fronts. Just to see where we are, see where we're at, and because of that, like last year it was like you said, we was a state runner. We had the best offensive line in the nation of high school football. And we're all over the social media. Lee kind of has this, Lee kind of has that, because we were so like big on connecting together as an offensive line. So where the quarterback don't have to stress in the backfield. He can sit there, he can read the coverages, he can be able to be comfortable in the pocket. And so that what made a big deal on us this year, getting to where we were going 11-1. I mean, it feels bad that we lost in the state championship game. I mean, that's everybody's downfall, but we're gonna bounce back this year and win. Hopefully, win it for the guys from last year, and not for us.
Qae'shon, I got to go to this comment down here, and I was going to bring him up earlier, but check out the background back here. I know you've been on IG Lives. I've been catching you cutting up, and you're listening to music and such. But tell us a little bit about that background, man. Who did that for you?
Actually, this was my mom's idea.
Oh, it's always the moms. The moms always hook it up.
Yeah, it's my mom's idea. She wanted. I mean, that's not all. We have. We got the pillow.
God. Even the curtains. Hold up. You even got the garnet and gold curtains.
So, man, we're locked in, man. We're locked in. We're
locked in.
We're all Florida State, man. There's no you want to see no decommitment from me, none.
No,
I'm Florida State in the flesh.
Tell me about that, because we've seen a couple guys lately, like McCall, also say, it's locked in, locked. Some people are wondering why he was going down to Florida, and there's always it's FSU to where they're always going to spur up anything. But it seems like a lot of guys are trying to lock this whole recruitment down. Is that a Norvell kind of effect, and the rest of the coaching staff?
I wouldn't say it's a Norvell effect. I say it's a climb effect.
Okay.
I say it's the climb effect, because consistency is key of all relationships, and brotherhood. That's all that's at Florida State, brotherhood. And you can ask a lot of players that I recruited, what's the biggest thing about Sapp? Brotherhood. Because I've grown up with 3 older brothers, so I didn't have no choice but to learn what brotherhood was. So it's hard growing. Like I said, I grew up 3 older brothers and with a single mom. So you have to realize that these are your guardian angels, and they're gonna take care of you. So these are your brothers. They're gonna stick beside you 24/7, no matter what. If you're right or wrong, even when you're wrong, okay, they're gonna go. After that, they're gonna go back and tell you you're wrong. But at that moment, you're right. So it's about brotherhood, and they realize and they see that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that when you went public that you were, silently committed for a little bit of time. So, walk us through how that all happened. When that happened, and was it hard to not go out there and say, hey, I'm committed to FSU?
It was hard. I'm gonna tell you the type of person I am during my recruitment process. I was a troller. I was a troller, and so I actually committed April 2nd, and that was during when we had spring break. I committed April 2nd, and I was in Norcross, Atlanta. I was visiting with my god family, my second god family, and I walked out the house. They was like, "Why are you walking out the house?" I gotta make a call. Calm down, I gotta make a call. And what all happened was, Coach Atkins, I was in school. We were getting out for school. Coach Atkins actually called my brother, my third oldest brother. Like I said, we're brotherhood, so all my brothers are gonna be included in my recruitment process. Well, two of them still aren't recruited. Well, he got that one. My third oldest brother, he got him that wasn't included into my recruitment process, and he called him. He was like, "Yeah, man, we want you to be a part of his recruitment. I know you got stuff going on yourself and his personal problems, but at the end of the day, we want you to know that you're part of the family and you're part of this recruitment process along with your brother." And my coach texted me. He was like, "I just got off the phone with your brother, Dion." I was like, "You just got off the phone with who?" He was like, "You got off the phone with your brother, Dion." I was like, I told my teacher, I was like, "Man, I step out of class real quick." And I called him. I'm like, Coach, you tell him you just got the phone with my brother. He was like, yeah, I got the phone with your brother. I said, Coach, there's no way you just got the phone with my brother. You don't even have his phone number. He was like, he sent me a screenshot. I'm like, bro, I said, my mama gave it to you. He was like, yeah, I told you. I said, I told you. When you commit here, it become family. Everybody in your family is gonna be my family. I'm gonna treat you like you my son, and I'm gonna also coach you like you're my player. And I was like, when that happened, I was like, yeah, this is home. This is home, because out of all the coaches that recruited me, they were more worried about, oh, how's the season going? Oh, what you been doing to get yourself better? Da, 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 da. And it was more about football, and it was never about family. And me growing up the way I grew up without having a great father in my life, it was like, yeah, I need family. That needs to be my number one thing. Family, family, family. Like it would probably be a piece of like people say, your mother will always feed you before she feed herself. It was the opposite for me. I would always make sure my mama ate before I ate. So it was hard growing up as a kid the way I did with my 3 older brothers, but it's just family.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nate. You were saying something.
Yeah, I was going to kind of follow up with, I'm not sure if anyone else is going to ask this, but Dustin and I do the recruiting for NoleGameday, but we hear a lot about Atkins and just his ability to connect, and kind of what you said is, he's done a great job of recruiting the hell out of the offensive line this season. It's just, you can look at the commit list and see what's on that list and what's to come. But can you talk about him a little bit more? And it sounds like your relationship just was far and away better than anyone else.
Me and Coach Atkins' relationship is like a father-son relationship. He's like the father I wish I had when I was a kid, because he stays on me, and he's like a life coach. Like I deal with so much stuff on myself that I don't like other people seeing, because I'm so energetic and I love being around people. I love making people smile. That's the type of person I am, because you have to show people that it's okay not to be normal like other people. Like me, I'm not normal. I still have my fun side. As y'all see on my live, I'm a goofy person. I'm a very goofy person. That's my actual personality. I like having fun. But it's sometimes when life hits you in the face and it's like, this is how it's going to be when you get older. And you have to sit down and realize, like, it's okay to be able to go through things in life and see the perspective of it. And that's what he showed me. He was like, you just got to sit down sometimes and think 3 seconds before you speak. And before you have actions that you don't want to have, and just sit there and breathe. And he was like a life coach, and I was like, I ain't never had this before, and I just wanted to keep it. And the only way I could have kept it was because to make that relationship further than what it was, to just be able to wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock workouts, and go to work 24/7 and know my coach loves me as a child and as a player. So it's just the connection we had. It just built extremely more. And then my mother, man, he treats my mother like a queen, because she struggled. And it's hard. It's hard thinking that your mom, 26 years old, having to take care of 3 kids before you was born, having to walk them to school every day, not being on the ride the bus. And he treats her like a queen, and he shows her that he's gonna take care of me and take care of her and get me where I need to be, to why I can actually provide for my mother financially and physically. So that's why me and Coach Atkins connect on such a high level, and I really appreciate him. And I love him for all the things he's done for me and my family.
We saw tons of pictures. I was going to mention this on the docket here, but you have tons of pictures with your mom. Tell us about her reaction to you making that commitment. How did that go? You telling her, maybe it was personal or whichever, how it went, but just tell us about her reaction, because we know your relationship is extremely strong. And I want to go back to earlier, I give major respect for you, stating, you do everything for her. She comes first, that kind of thing impresses me. I got chills thinking about it, because I want to do the same thing for my mom, but I just want to say major respect to you. But tell us about your mom and her instant reaction to you committing to the Noles.
Well, the first time I told my mom, she was so excited, but at the same time, she was excited to the point where she was emotional, because like I've said, we came a long way. I've came from living in horrible environments to where I've seen people get shot in front of my face, and it's like I had to get her out of that environment. we've made sacrifices our whole life, and I mean, you can't get nowhere without making sacrifices. You have to make some type of sacrifice in life to get a great result out of it. So that sacrifice was moving from out of a $250 a month double wide trailer into a $750 duplex 3-bedroom that we're still, sometimes you struggle, sometimes you don't, sometimes your bills are paid, sometimes your bills aren't. And I'm still trying to get to the fact, like, she won't let me get a job. That's the thing about my mama. My mama always told me she did it when she was young. She couldn't handle it. She don't want me to do it. She wants me to focus on football and focus on school. And that's going to be my meal ticket for her to get her out of predicament she's in right now. And that's what I'm continuing to focus on is football and school. So, but me and my mother connection, like I said, I grew up in a bad environment. So I inhabited some of the bad environment things that was going on in my area. And I stayed in trouble a lot and stuff like that. And I lied to my mom. But if you sit and I sat there and thought about it, I was like, this is the only person I got left. So why would I continue to do something like this to her? And it just clicked in me. And like over the years, I matured more and more and more. Like I've been told I have the mentality of a 34-year-old. Mm-hmm. And I'm only 18. And that's a great compliment to be noticed as, because you can't say that about a lot of people. You can't say that about a lot of people. And just being able to see my mom like smile, even though I know she works a 9 to 5 every day or 7 to 9, just to see her come home and smile and be happy to see me when she gets out of work, even though her body's aching, her feet's hurting and stuff like that. I'm just willing to put my body on the line for Florida State and just get her to where she needs to be and just take care of her, because she deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, D'Lo, if you have one up there on the docket.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned it earlier, Qae'shon, but you've been one of the more vocal recruits since joining this Florida State class, especially with recruiting guys. So when you're reaching out to other guys to try and get them to join you, what's your message to them?
The recent person, my recent commit was Daughtry. But my recent commit that I actually sat there, because I've been talking to Dustin for a long time. Yeah. So he already knew what was up with me and him. But my recent commit is Chris Parson, the quarterback.
Yeah.
We just had him on last week. Yeah.
He mentioned you too.
Yeah, he mentioned you.
Yeah, and like I sat him down and I'm like, he was like, bro, I'm committing in a couple days. Like I'm a little on Florida State and I'm a little on TCU. I'm like, bro, I said, if you want to come somewhere and be a great impact and be an underdog, because me personally, I love being an underdog. Since my 9th grade year, I've always been an underdog. I haven't started my first year of football until last year, my junior year, and I blew up in 1 year, and that shows you how much of an underdog I am. But I told him, I was like, bro, if you want to come somewhere and be a great impact and get the love and the respect that you earn and you deserve, I said, bro, Florida State is your home. You want to be able to come every day and have your brothers fight on the side of you in the weight room and cheering you on and telling you to push through the workouts when you're tired and exhausted, bro, come to Florida State. Like, because we here to make each other better, not just ourselves, but each other. We want to see, because if I'm being great, the next person beside me going to want to be great. If you being great, the next person beside you want to be great. It's just energy feeding off of energy. It's consistently feeding off energy. So I told him, I was like, just make your mind up. I told him, I said, sit down, make your mind up, and just let me know what's up. If you're not interested in coming, I understand, because everybody have their own path in life. Everybody want to be successful in their own school. Everybody want to put their own legacy on a different school. Now everybody want to be a legend at their own school that everybody else is going to. So I told him, I was like, I understand if that's not if that's not what you want to do, but if you want to come somewhere and you want to be respected and you want to grind for greatness, Florida State is the place to be. And he texted me the next morning. He said, "Go Noles." I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Yes," and I was like, "This how much of an impact." I was like, "Bro, if you sit here and talk," and he talked to a couple guys that I recruited, and they told him the same thing. But Sapp is a real dude. You're not gonna find nobody else like Sapp. Sapp is a real dude. And I tell everybody, like, bro, this is not no front. This is really me. This is the same person you're gonna see when you get to Florida State. The same person that talked to you the same way right now is gonna be the same person you get when you go to Florida State.
Ask you, Sapp, man. speaking going into some recruiting, that you've got that recruiting hat on now, big time.
Oh yeah.
Who are some names that you're going after? Chris Parsons said that he's got a list that he's going through and named a few on here, but who are some names to you right now that you're heavily after in text, calls, whatever, IG DMs?
Skinner, Kevin Coleman, and Marvin Jones are three I'm big on right now because we need them. We need them in that secondary real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
what about Nate? Nate's had, along with Dustin too, but both of these guys have had Marvin Jones Jr. high on there. We talked about him last week on the show, and that's going to be a big time recruitment. That's going to go all the way to the end there. But it seems like Florida State is in a good spot with Jaleel Skinner and also Kevin Coleman right now.
Yeah, Kevin just came from Oregon, so I gotta talk to him and see how he was up there. So other than that, I mean, all these guys they gotta. It's not no peer pressure. It's just if you want to be great somewhere and get an early opportunity of being great, I mean, Florida State's the place to be.
And I was gonna go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you look at that, like you said a few times. There is, Florida State's a young team. They are going into this year as one of the top 2 or 3 youngest teams in the country, but there's still opportunity to go there to make an impact or turn things around. So, us as Florida State fans have been around for a while. Look at the program and we're like, man, damn, 4 years in a row I've been struggling. So how do you look at that coming in, knowing that Florida State's working to get back to that elite status?
Man, Coach Norvell's got a plan for you guys, and he got a plan for us too. And just to think of it, like I said, being the underdog. Everybody wants the underdog to lose. So when the underdog wins, it opens your eyes. Okay, they really came here to play. They really came here to showcase their talent and show you that just because being an underdog don't mean we can't be successful. Don't mean we can't put in work. Don't mean we can't strive for greatness. So I love being an underdog. I love coming to a young team and rebuilding everything because, I mean, they haven't won a national championship since 2014, I believe.
13.
Yeah, practically,
13.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you, like, that's why a lot of people be like these SEC schools, this and that. But have you won a recent SEC, like a recent national championship? No. So there's no point in you talking down on a school in the ACC because you can't accomplish those goals either. So you're fighting the same battle that Florida State's fighting, and that's trying to get a national championship.
We can sit here and have a debate, but the SEC right now is what Florida State was in the 90s. They've taken that blueprint and, trying to follow that dynasty, which is never, ever going to be matched.
Exactly.
That Bound had. And, when Florida State's bought in and what they should normally be, that's the team that competes with the SEC and usually, is the one that beats them on a consistent basis.
I was going to mention too, Sapp, I know that you were spending quite a bit of time with also Elijah Pritchett there during your most recent visit to Florida State. How is that relationship working? How's that going? Are you staying in contact with him? How's that going to work for you? Because I think the next weekend he was at Alabama. How's that going for you with him?
Right now, Pritchett's playing my game in recruitment, the pro game. So
yeah.
I'm a little iffy right now. I don't know actually where he's going to end up at, but like I said, wherever he goes, I wish him the best. That's for any recruit. Wherever they decide to go, if it's not Florida State, I wish you the best because I mean, like I said, you gotta build your own legacy. But right now, Pritchett, it's between us or Bama, I believe.
Yeah,
us or Bama. But yeah, I actually play him in a couple of weeks. That'll be my first game against Pritchett, so we might swap jersey, take pictures and stuff like that. But we've been really talking about competitiveness and about this game coming up against each other. So we're just trying to see who's gonna give up the most sacks. It's not gonna be me.
No,
it's not gonna be me.
I love it. I like that.
One guy I'm sure Florida State fans want to hear your thoughts on is 4-star linebacker and your teammate Jerron Willis. And obviously he's been committed to Georgia Tech for a couple months, but I'm sure you've been working on him a little bit, and he plans to be back in Tallahassee to visit for that Notre Dame game. And he told me in a couple interviews that he grew up a Florida State fan. This is his dream school. So, just in your opinion, do you think the Seminoles still have a shot in pulling off the flip in the end?
In my opinion, if I keep doing what I'm doing, we got a chance. Because, every time, and he'll tell you, every time he comes around me, I'm throwing that top up. He was like, bro, get over. I'm like, nah, because, okay, so it was one day we had practice. We had early morning practice. We got in there 5:30. We didn't start practice until about 7 because we had film, we had meetings. And he came back downstairs and had a Florida State shirt on. I tried to get a picture. of him. I was gonna post it on social media. So he was like, bro, turn your camera off. I was like, dang. But yeah, man, it's gonna be hard flipping him from Georgia Tech because he got a lot of love down there. But I told him, I'm like, bro, this is your home. You was born to go here. You've been a Florida State fan all your life. But I get what he's saying though, because I'm the same way. I grew up an LSU fan. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Morgan City, Louisiana, in Amelia. So I grew up an LSU fan, diehard LSU fan, and it's different when you're in a recruitment process than when you're out of the recruitment process, because it's the school that you grew up loving might not show you the amount of love that the school that you didn't grow up loving. So it's hard to pick and choose between that, but I think we got a shot at him, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a talented guy.
Yeah.
So what are some of your goals? You got your last season in high school coming up. So what's your top 3 things that you want to achieve?
Becoming a better person, and a player, mainly a leader, and showing the younger guys that you can do things if you put your mind to it and blood, sweat, and tears. Secondly, graduate, mainly graduate. And third would be graduating, and the second would probably be winning the state championship for the guys that deserved it last year.
Yeah. I want to go back really quick and talk about what really gets you fired up about being a Florida State Seminole. I'm looking, we just got a view at your room there and all around the house. And then also I see on your IG, you're always putting up the chop. You were at 6 a.m. doing workouts, and you're always showing love to FSU. What really just excites you about, Tallahassee? Because it seems like you've got that energy. You're coming into your visits and you're trying to recruit like you were just talking about. But really just go through what really is exciting. Is it the war chant? Is it the staff? Is it the fan base? What really gets you going?
The whole shebang. Mainly, I say my best part about being a Florida State Seminole is the war chant. It's unbeatable. Who doesn't love the war? Who doesn't just love just sitting there throwing a chop up 24/7? It feels good. And then another thing is this accomplishing a life goal. And it's another step of a journey that you have to accomplish to get to where you really want to be, and the goals that you set as a young child, like I've said. And being a Florida State Seminole is great because you got a lot of people behind you that's willing to fight for you the same way you'll be willing to fight for them too. So that's my opinion on being a Florida State Seminole. It's all chops 24/7.
So you're from Georgia. I don't know if you listen to our podcast, but I claim being the first one that was on the Travis Hunter train on being the best recruit in the class, and I think he's the best player in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
So what are your thoughts on a guy like that? That just he's a pace setter, on either side of the ball, and frankly, I love his ability to talk smack and his confidence. So how do you view Travis and how's your relationship with him?
What really made me and Travis click on my first visit is they had the spring game at Florida State. They did the garnet and white game, and when I first this is my first Travis was recruiting me. That's crazy. Travis was recruiting me, and he was like, "Bro, come on, bro, we need you, dog. We need you. You be the first person, the first offensive lineman to commit. We need you." I'm like, okay, bro. I was like, we gonna see. I said, I'm coming to the spring game. Let's see what y'all talking about. Let me see. I'm just trying to catch the vibe from everybody as a recruit. Nico, this was when Nico was committed. We had DeMar Austin there. We had what's his name? The quarterback. I can't remember him. He committed to North Carolina State.
MJ Morris.
MJ Morris.
Yeah.
MJ Morris was there. It was a lot of guys.
It was crazy. It was packed. Yeah.
It was a lot of guys, and I was just sitting there catching the vibe from Travis. Man, Travis was just sitting there talking. He's like, "Bro, this is the place to be, bro. Like, we need you. Like, this is not even just me talking. This is just like me, like shooting it to you 100%. We need you. Like, you'll be the start of the offensive line. Like, you'll bring everybody together because your vibe and like." Your confidence, bro, we need it. It's key. And I was like, we're going to see. And when I committed, when I said he was probably the most excited person on this earth, man, he was just blowing my phone up with the Seminole. I'm like, let's go. It's time to put in some work. It's time to put on this recruitment hat and let's get to work. But I look at myself. I look at a lot of men. Me and Travis, I see myself and Travis a little bit because of the cockiness and the confidence he has. I'm the same way. Like, I've been waiting for somebody to mic me up for a football game. I've been waiting for somebody to mic me up for a football game because, like, when we put the pads on, I'm going to talk on my pads, but you're going to hear a lot of this because I'm going to back it up. I'm not just going to sit there talk. I'm going to back it up. I'm a cocky dude. As you can see in my film, like, I get down and dirty.
We literally did a whole video, me and Dustin on here did a whole video looking at the most recent commits, and you were also in there too. But, you know, we were able to have a result that literally it is a very physical group that's going to be in the trenches in the future. It seems like some mean guys. They play smart, but they're mean. You know, you're going to play till the second whistle until you're getting called, you know, off the second whistle. Like, it's a mean group that's coming up in those trenches. It seems like that's what Coach Atkins and Norvell and Dillingham want. They want some mean guys up front. Play smart, but play football. Bring back that physicality. You know, it seems, you know, Florida State is the last 5 years, let's all be honest, you know, the offensive line, it gets a bad sheet on everything, but, you know, it seems like they want to bring that nastiness back up there.
I'm not gonna lie. I've done some dirty things on the football field. Like, I know if I sit on here, it'll probably sound nasty, but I've actually, like, got into it with a kid from Westlake, and I pancaked him, and he was still talking, and I spit on him. I know that's kind of wrong, but that's old school football. That's how they used to play back then. They'll spit on you, and I had to show him, like, bro, you're a peasant.
Okay, first I heard that you were standing on him. I was like, damn, that dude's getting crushed. I didn't hear the spit bar.
Man.
What was he saying to you, though? It all really depends. Was he talking trash?
Yeah, and he was talking smack. I'm like, bro, you're not doing nothing. And there was one play we had. This was right after the play I spit on him. We had a play. It was our quarterback. He couldn't get the ball off, so we ran man coverage. And when I ran man coverage, I held him up good, and the quarterback ran around. I said, "Yeah, you dummy." It was funny because he couldn't get off the block. Like, I had him hooked up. Like, I'm talking about, I had him tied up inside the body. I'm squatting low. I had him real good. He couldn't move, and he was like, "Bro, you lame." I said, "You're a dummy." I said, "You're a dummy. You think you can touch my quarterback?" Like, I gave up my first time. Giving up a sack was against Lions, and after that, I never gave up a sack afterwards.
No. One of my favorite players ever is Timmy Jernigan, and, you know, he had a great past of being nasty and went into also practices, which we got to hear stories from about him being pretty brutal and mean. But I like that physicality. When I think Florida State, I think mean and nasty. Play smart, but, you know, still, you know, take care of what you got to do and be mean up front.
Yeah.
So I love it. I like it. I like that kind of energy.
Yeah, man, it's a game of football. You got to be mentally and physically tough. It's mainly a mental game.
Yep.
You got to get out of your sometimes. Like, you can't be so uptight. You got to get loose. That's like, I tell a lot of people. My mom told me this is why I play the game so good. She told me to contribute the season after my cousin. because my cousin was the reason I actually started playing football. Without him telling my mom to let me play football, I would never be playing football.
Mm-hmm.
But I contribute my season to him because he passed away, and that was my favorite cousin out of my whole family. Like, I could talk to him about anything that I can't talk to people about now. But that was one reason. And the second reason was my mom said every time you get on the field, picture the person in front of you as the worst person you ever met in your life. And I picture that as my father. So every person that gets in front of me, is that picture of him is implanted on that person's face every play.
Yeah, and not to get too heavy, but I grew up with a single mom, twin sister, kind of the same thing. My mom used to tell me the same exact thing. Picture that person you hate the most, and like you, what was my father, man. My first football game, I got kicked out because I grabbed the guy's face mask and threw him into the sideline. But that physicality, like you said, it is football. It has a right place for it, but that's what's been missing at FSU is that mentality of when it puts you in the dirt and when to keep moving forward. And it's exciting for me that I'm a little bit older than all y'all. I've seen the dynasty. I've seen the drop down when Bowden left, and then Jimbo's, the climb back up to the top. And I've seen the last few years, so it's exciting to see that mentality that you have. That hey, one, I'm driven to be successful, so I'm going to do the right thing. 2, you're mature, and 3, you just want to get down on the football field. It's great to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I be so ready for the football season here for football season to get here because I be having so much stuff built up inside me. I can actually just get it out.
I feel bad for the kid. Feel bad for the kid that's in front of you the first drive. Prayers to that kid.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate you coming on here tonight. Answering our questions, opening up. And I think my last one for you is just, you guys already have 6 offensive linemen committed in this class, including yourself. Before the season has even gotten started. So just how important is it to keep this group together moving forward, and how close are all of you guys with one another?
We're really close. They really, like I said, a lot of people feed off of me. So they're all feeding off of me right now. And it just goes to show you that, like, I could put a very big impact on a lot of people. Oh, I don't like that. Don't go to the taco film. No taco film.
Not this one. We can't go through this one.
Oh, man, bro, the guard film is so magnificent. Like, pancake.
Hold up. Let me find it. Let me see.
You can probably fast forward through it. But, they all love me. I told them, I'm like, bro, if you need anything, like money, like you need something, if you need some food, if you need me to DoorDash you some food, bro, and you hungry, you out of town, you need something to eat, bro, just call me. Because, I take care of it. Because I take care of them, they take care of me. That's just how it is. Like, we're family now. So.
Mm-hmm. I love bringing up some tape. I love bringing tape. Now it's probably, I put it to the middle of this.
That's tackle. I pancake that kid. Watch, I'm going to run all the way to the front of the field. I remember that one. You can see him. I'm going too, boy.
Oh, you're still running, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You ain't that goes to show you not a lot of big boys can move like me. I got quick feet.
What's going on here? What's this?
That's tackle.
Linebacker. Linebacker came up.
I think this is the tackle film. This should be guard film out there. Now y'all got me want to watch it now. I'm just sitting here and watch it now.
That's why I love bringing up tape.
I love watching my film. Okay, here goes some guard right here. That's just climbing up to the next level. I ain't really doing nothing on that play. That just showing you I can go up to the next level when I need to.
Yeah.
This right here, I was working hand games, chop, replace.
Yep. Why it's so laggy? Moving up.
I think double team to the linebacker, just going up to the next level again.
Now running.
Yeah.
All the way down the early part.
Yeah, I pop up. Okay, this kid right here was like 340.
340? I'll go back to him.
Yeah.
340 pounds ahead of you. Let me see.
He was a 340 nose guard.
I see that. So right there.
When I pancaked him, he was like, "Yeah, bro, you got me."
Oh, I can see he's a big cat. Oh yeah, you did. You drove him. What did you say to him? Sit your ass down.
Nah, I started clapping. I got one play against River Ridge. we played River Ridge, and I actually did like my actual celebration. Y'all gonna see it a lot this year. I got my own celebration. It's the gorilla.
Yeah.
So I banged my chest. And smacked the ground.
Is that gonna come to Florida State, you think?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I hope they don't call a flag on me though.
Yeah, they will.
No, right? Oh, you're in the ACC, Santa. You'll get used to it. You're in the ACC, yeah. But no, we'll definitely. I love this. I think definitely whenever the season starts, getting you back on here too to get a feeling of how your season's going, and then also your continued recruitment at Florida State. It's 100% locked down, right? It's done. It's over. Recruitment's over. The coaches should stop contacting you.
The only thing you'll probably see me do just to get out the house is just go to a game that Florida State's playing somebody. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. But
I got 4 officials left. So I got one plan. I was going to go to Chapel Hill when they play Florida State just so I could see Florida State play Chapel Hill. And I was probably going to go to a Georgia game. That was it. But it's just because I just want to get out the house. Like, I'm a homebody, but when I get a chance to get out the house, I want to get out the house just to have fun, just to do something and go places I've never been. Like, my mom's actually from North Carolina, so.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Take advantages, man. You got this awesome opportunity. You're locked in, obviously. And Carlos Williams, who's on here, used to be our co-host. It said, he was locked into Florida State, but he took advantage because talented guy. Why not go see these different parts of the country, man? You've got that opportunity. Take advantage of that. So I think that's great. And safe travels when you do. Stay healthy this upcoming season. We'll be covering you, and we're excited to watch you. And best of luck to your team too. We've seen that you've been putting in some work. So best of luck, man. Thank you so much for coming on for about 45 minutes, man. Appreciate it. Hey, man, be good. Thank you.
I think his audio went out there at the end.
I think the audio did go out, but definitely appreciate 4-star offensive line commit Qae'shon Sapp dropping in with us.
Love the trash talking. I love it.
Yep. No, I like it. That's what that kind of vibe is. That is definitely in the trenches. We had Chris Parson. He's a quarterback, nice guy. He's going to be that leader, but in the trenches, it changes. I love having that transition from a quarterback we had last week and then an offensive lineman that we've seen tape that they're mean. And here he is talking about it, that he is indeed not a nice guy on the field. I love it.
Yeah, I was very impressed, especially with him opening up more on his story. And, it really seems like this is a kid that's motivated to make the best out of his situation. So excited to follow him during his senior year and can't wait to see what he does once he does get to Florida State.
Yep. I give mad respect to what he stated earlier, talking about his mom. I love it. I got chills about it. And I'm sure you did too, Nate, about, that kind of mission that he's on. And I'm pulling for him big time. Hope he has a great season ahead.
Yeah, man. Austin, man, your questions were just, phenomenal.
Austin's doing a great job. Your foray into, interviewing recruits has just been going swimmingly.
Yeah, I went in, head first.
Yeah, you're
but for real, let's be honest. Let's just keep it real. Florida State has struggled on the offensive line recruiting wise. Here comes the kid that has everything that they need. He's got versatility, plays with a mean streak, is still learning the position, and seems like he's very coachable. And the thing that I agree with what you said, Logan, is that he's driven, so he's going to do the right thing, and he's going to work his tail off just because he has a purpose in life to make his mom's life better. So this is a kid that's going to keep his head on straight, going to do the right thing, and he's going to continue just to develop into a really good college player.
Absolutely. Speaking up,
again,
go ahead.
Sorry. Once again, I mean, Coach Atkins, you said it earlier, Nate, but the way that he can connect with these kids and really just build that relationship. And, we've heard it from so many guys that Coach Atkins was the reason that they came to Florida State. And I mean, the more you hear guys talk about him, the more you can tell why. I mean, he's a real ass dude.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the offensive line, another 2022 commit. Most recent one is going to be a top 10 interior lineman, Jalen Early. This was a big time target for Florida State, 6'4", 320 out of Duncanville, Texas, going to be playing against some good competition this upcoming season. Nate and Dealer, this is a big-time pickup once again for Coach Atkins. I feel like Coach Atkins, will he have a statue by 2023? I mean, this momentum, and we had a lot of thoughts about Coach Atkins. We'll talk about early here, but we've had a lot of, expectations, and we heard really good things about Coach Atkins, about his time at his previous stop. But, I mean, the momentum that he's on is crazy, and he's able to land early here in the 2022 class.
Yeah, and honestly, after I got the chance to speak with Jalen a couple weeks ago, I felt pretty confident that he was going to end up at Florida State. It really felt like the main contenders here were Ohio State and Texas Tech. And in the end, I mean, you said it already, Logan, Coach Atkins, that relationship had a big impact on him. And his official visit with his family went really well. And he's another guy. We had Sapp on here and we talked about Jaron Willis being teammates with him. Jalen Early had his teammate Jarrell Powers already committed to Florida State and in his ear trying to get him to join the class. And, all those factors in the end paid off in FSU's favor. And he's a true tackle prospect. I think he's probably a right tackle at Florida State. And, I think he's a guy could potentially, I'm not saying start next year, but I think he could see some time next year depending on how he comes in and performs.
Yeah, I definitely think he's college ready when you look at his physique and his build. He's coached up really well. He is definitely going to be one of the most college ready offensive linemen that Florida State brings in. And I look at him as a guy that can play guard or right tackle. I kind of like him in the interior, but I also like him I like him at tackle. It's intriguing to see what he can do at guard because he is a big guy that moves so well. And for me, what I think made me feel that it was a done deal when, he didn't really go to that Penn State visit. There was talk about him going to Penn State, and when that didn't happen, I felt really good. Florida State felt good about that for a little bit. But it's another feather in the cap, another blue chip guy. That Coach Atkins, who I think right now has got to be considered one of the top 3 recruiters in the country right now with what he's done at offensive line and what he's done for FSU's recruiting period. So great gift for FSU. I don't think Florida State's done on the O-line, just like, Qae'shon said. I think there's 1 or 2 more guys that are left to land in this class. Yeah, it's a big offensive line class, but, expect attrition after the season. And, they need it. They need to bring as much talent and competition to that offensive line. So big feather in the cap for our boy, Coach Atkins.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of boys, that's your boy there for Atkins. Nate, this is your guy. You get the room here, the whole floor to talk about him. You've already said that he's the number 1 player for the last 5 classes, but officially written down right now, and he'll probably stay that way with his season coming up. Travis Hunter, 5-star commit, has been named the number 1 player in the country per 247 Sports. Finally, it's happened. Felt like this should have happened a long time ago. This whole thing, it's kind of a different kind of story where you've got Quinn Ewers. He's elected to forego his senior season, 5-star quarterback, and he's going to be going to Ohio State this summer. But still, I mean, Travis Hunter, he deserves this ranking, most certainly. Nate?
Yeah, I get it. Typically that's designated for quarterbacks and defensive offensive linemen. Rarely do you see, DBs rated that high. But, we've talked about it so much on this podcast about how special of a football player this kid is. He's the best football player in the class. Even with Quinn Ewers still in the class, I think Travis was number 1. Now the kid deserves his 1.000 rating because, no recruit's flawless. Everyone has things they got to work on, but, I haven't seen a more college-ready player in quite a while, probably since Derwin. And, I'm a little bit of a homer that, I was a huge Derwin fan. But this kid is so special on either side of the ball to be the number 1 cornerback and the number 1 wide receiver in this class. He finally gets what he deserves. And I expect him to just prove it on the field this season that he's the without a doubt number one player and has deserved that rating the entire time. He's done it in the 7-on circuit. He's done it in the camp circuit. And, we saw him spring where he did it in the spring with the pads on too. So, sky's the limit with this kid. I can't wait for him to be at FSU.
Yeah, he deserves it all. And
one thing too that you had the new website On3, whatever it's called. They named Marvin Jones Jr. their number one player in the country, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, what was your thoughts on that?
I came into this cycle that he is the most important recruit, mainly because of family.
And we just lost Nate. It's always whenever he's mid-sentence.
It's good insight.
That is good insight. It looks like he's
half
asleep. Nate, if you can hear us, we have lost you.
I'll get my thoughts on
it. I would stop short of the number one player in the country right now.
Nate, you don't know this, but we lost you for about 30 seconds there.
Yeah.
We heard the beginning and the very end.
Yeah, we need the middle there. You started the beginning. Now give us the middle.
Well, what I was saying was that I think it's great for MJJ to get the recognition that he deserves. He is, in my opinion, has been a little undervalued. I do think he's a top 15 player, but I stopped short of the number one player because Travis Hunter has that spot locked in.
I'm glad we could hear that. He's wrestled a bit. And now we lost Nate fully, so he's gone. He gave up there at the end. But yeah, Marvin Jones Jr. is by far top priority. We've got to see recently how many, the whole staff. You got the janitors there. You've got the window cleaners there in the picture. During his visit, got everybody involved there. So they pulled out the red carpet, rolled it out for him, but that is a big-time target heading into this upcoming season. Some other things here on the quick hitters, D-Lou. Some big-time targets. You've got Tony Mitchell, 5-star DB, puts Florida State in his top 10, and along with Cormani McLean, another 5-star DB. Both guys most recently visiting Florida State, D-Lou. Some good news for FSU. I missed one.
Yeah, Cormani McLean, he was supposed to visit, but he didn't actually make it. But Tony Mitchell did make it, which is huge to get him in for that unofficial visit, all the way out from Alabama. But, Florida State, they've been recruiting these guys very hard. Obviously, the number 1 and the number 2 DBs in the 2023 class. And, they feel good about where they stand right now. I think the real keys are getting them back on campus in the fall to check out a Florida State game in person. And we'll just have to see if that comes to fruition. I'm just trying not to laugh.
This comment here from Stan, I believe, is in our Discord.
Fantastic comment. Made my night. That's pretty funny.
Logan looks like he's broadcasting from the lobby of a strip club.
It's the lights, man.
It is the lights.
Dude, come on.
It's the lights
like a red room.
It's the lights with the mini fridge. That's what it is. That's what's doing it for you.
And they're changing colors.
Yeah, I can change it real quick. That's the fanciness of it. I like it. It's like mood lighting, but it's a little freaky. And speaking of mood lighting, here comes Nate. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that comment so he can't see and make fun of me. Everything's good, Nate. All things all good.
Matt, what'd you say?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. It's just about Travis Hunter being the best player ever.
No, they're talking
about we were talking about
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What is happening, guys? We're falling off the rails. Before we fall off the rails, though, let's get into some fall camp stuff. Actually, no, we're not going to fall camp. We're going into this silly crap that I saw from ESPN real quick. Whenever they were released in the top 25, blah, blah, BS, whatever, ESPN placed Florida State not even in the top 5 of traditions. They got Ohio State's dotting the T at number 1.
Well, it's not even the T, it's the I.
What are we doing, ESPN?
Idiot.
I've never even thought about Ohio State in that tradition.
It's a good tradition. It is a good tradition, especially I know a lot of Ohio State grads.
God, what are you doing? You just hang out with them all the time?
A lot of the people, some people
Charlotte
that are grad assistants at Florida State were Ohio State grads. So, I
That's
talked to a
weird.
lot of them, and they just hold dot in the I and such high acclaim. I don't get it, but I somewhat understand it.
Number 2 is Clemson's. Howard's Rock rubbing themselves on a rock before they run down a hill is number 2 in college football for traditions.
Which, if they weren't good, no one would care.
No one would give a flying F. Yes. So that's hilarious. Number 3 is Army Navy. Yes, we give our respect to them for their cadet march. Right, D-Lou?
You had to think about it, what you were going to say.
I was going to say my respect to that. And then I go to number 4, Ralphie's Run for Colorado is in the top 5 of college football traditions.
Which is cool, but it's not. It's cool, but it's not a flaming spear going into the ground.
You're copying my tweet, Austin.
You
didn't give me a retweet. You didn't give me a retweet on it, huh?
I didn't see it.
Number 5, Iowa's the Nicket Wave. The Nicket Wave. Okay, so yeah, I like that one. That one's great.
It's fairly new, but I do really like it.
Yeah, it is fairly new. So this doesn't. Entrances. Maybe that's where you put Clemson's, but still, a top 5 tradition overall in college football, and you've got a team rubbing their fingers on a rock. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
How you don't have Florida State or even Michigan's up there? Both of those are easy top 5s. You can't have a top 5 without either of those. A lot of people said Notre Dame, and then a lot of people are like, well, they just started doing the play like a champions thing in the 80s, so how much is that really tradition?
Yeah. This list is stupid, just to make sure everybody knows that. It's stupid, but ESPN back at it again. You've got 80,000 going crazy. And the thing is, you go through all your pregame, everything, the band's done, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got both teams looking at each other. You got UF, you got FSU. They're coming at each other. You got the helmets up. And then the first thing you did before kickoff is Renegade and Osceola coming down with a flaming spear and Renegade, arching all the way up and then planting it and boom.
I'm so ready to see it. Notre Dame, Labor Day weekend, night game.
Oh, it's going to be loud.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be loud.
I can't wait.
I hope it's a good spear plant,
Yeah.
He's been good so far. I will say he has been good. I've been to all the home games.
I just know over the past couple years, there's been a couple questionable ones.
There's been some iffy ones from Renegade.
Sorry.
What'd he say?
Michigan. Remember the Orange Bowl?
Oh yeah. That hasn't happened in a while. I think Renegade's has a really good training camp right now. We'll see if the sources will give us any nuggets on that. Make sure you guys are on the Patreon, patreon.com/NoleGameday on Renegade's training camp. Before we get more scoop on him, let's jump into some defensive position previews before fall camp begins, gentlemen. We're finally here. This is our last preview. The guys report tomorrow, and practice begins on Saturday. So we really are here. Football season has begun. Let's start off with the defensive end group, guys. There's a lot to be excited for. I think Dustin has been very excited for this group. He thinks that there's going to be a big-time upgrade here. You're obviously bringing in big-time transfer from Georgia, Jermaine Johnson, which Florida State and Mike Norvell are looking at him to make a lot of plays this upcoming season, a lot of sacks, play well in the running game. Jermaine talked about it during the ACC kickoff. But there's still some other guys that I think personally impressed me during the spring, like a guy named Derek McLendon, Queson Fuller, Keir Thomas, too, who we didn't get to see during the spring, but transferred from South Carolina. There's some things to like heading into this fall camp at defensive end for Florida State.
Yeah, let's be honest. Last year, the defensive ends, they finished the season with a total of 3.5 sacks. So I think entering 2021, as long as you can get 4 sacks, that's an improvement. And I think Florida State is primed to get a lot more than that. They've completely revamped the defensive end room this offseason. Logan, you mentioned some of those transfers coming in. Another guy who recently was officially announced on the roster was Alabama A&M transfer Marcus Cushney, a guy who was a high-profile pass rusher in the FCS the past couple seasons, and I think he's going to have an instant impact on Florida State's defense, maybe not as a starter, but one of the first guys off the bench behind Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas. And also, Leonard Warner, a veteran guy who's been around forever. He is likely going to be fully healthy for fall camp and probably be in that rotation. And there's some other young guys, TJ Davis, Josh Griffiths. You've got some of the young guys, true freshmen, George Wilson, Byron Turner, Patrick Payton, and Chambray Jackson. So, there's a ton of bodies at defensive end, a ton of potential. And I think it really helps to have those guys at the very top who have that veteran experience. They're proven college players. And then the guys behind them can kind of fill in as they start to grow into their roles.
Yeah, Jermaine Johnson is coming in. He's come in great shape. That dude looks like a monster, and he's looking to get to the league. This is his money season times 1,000. He wants to make plays. He wants to make plays on national television, and he's got the chance to starting off against Notre Dame. But Florida State and Adam Fuller are going to look at him to make some big-time QB rushes, man. That's just been the problem for Florida State. We were thinking last season, you've got the mob coming back for a second season in a row, but it just did nothing. It was piss poor, and if Nate was on here, he'd probably say even worse, but it just was pitiful. It was sad and disgusting to watch, and that's just not what you think of when you think Florida State defense. You think guys that are nasty at the D-line coming after the quarterback, but that made it to where this defense really struggled. They were struggling against the pass because there was no rush up there, and they're going to look at some of these guys and make plays, and I think there is going to be some surprises. I'm very high. I thought Derek McLendon had a great spring along with Fuller. I thought, Fuller has really looked better. His shape has gotten better. He's faster off the side of the ball. D-Lou, we were both at those spring scrimmages.
Yeah, agreed. Queson Fuller, a guy who didn't play his first year in Tallahassee, but since then has really committed off the field. And like you said, Logan, been putting in the extra work. His body has really come along. And, I don't think he's going to break into that starting role this year, but there's a good chance that he plays a big role in that defense, coming off the bench, providing quality snaps. And, I'm excited to continue to watch him grow. I think he can help Florida State, not only rushing the passer, but helping set the edge as well.
Who, we can mix into this as a hybrid is Amari Gainer, because I think he's going to be utilized a lot in that pass rush more than he did last year. I think Adam Fuller didn't know necessarily where to put him at. I think without a spring, the season being all over the place, Fuller and also Marv were just kind of not fully on the same page on like where to work him at, where to put him, which package. I do think you're going to see a lot of number 33 out there rushing the quarterback this upcoming year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see it. And, I said it earlier, but there's so many different guys in this room with so many different skill sets. I think Florida State, they're going to have to set up pass rushing packages like that. You mentioned Gainer. I think Leonard Warner could be in that conversation. Obviously, Marcus Cushney, who I mentioned earlier, and then maybe some of the true freshmen. I think Byron Turner and Patrick Payton could potentially get some snaps in pass rushing situations.
Shad says down here, great. My oldest son, 4, walks in and says, that guy looks like my daddy. Well, pointing at Dustin. Don't really know what that means, but that gives us a great transition into moving on to our next topic, position group here. And we're going to move over to defensive tackles, who also didn't impress whatsoever last season and was a complete letdown. But let's hope that there's a future ahead for some improvement. You look at Marvin Wilson, he was going to be one of the top 10 college football players. That went squat. That never happened. You're looking at Robert Cooper, who's kind of just maybe steadily moved up a little bit, improved. But, you've got Fabian Lovett, who I'm really, really excited for on that interior side of the defensive line. And he had a great spring. I don't think enough people are
excellent spring.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are talking about enough. And, there was just only a select few that got to see him in those spring scrimmages. I don't think people are talking about Lovett enough. And it's going to come to a surprise to a few of them, probably against the Notre Dame game. But, at least here on Hear the Spear, you heard it first. Fabian Lovett, I think, is going to have a very impressive season for the Noles this upcoming year.
Yeah, you got to put some respect on his name because, in my opinion, I think he was one of, if not the most overall impressive player that I got to see during spring scrimmages in the spring game. I mean, he was just annihilating the offensive line, getting into the backfield at will. It didn't matter if it was a run. He was getting by a guy, getting a tackle for loss. If it was a pass, he was doing a swim move and, getting a sack on the quarterback. He was just dominant throughout the whole spring. And I can't remember a specific moment in my head where he really lost a battle or something like that. I mean, he was just absolutely terrific. So excited to see that transition onto the field this fall. And, another guy who you really love, Logan, Dennis Briggs, who came back midseason last year, kind of gave a little bit of a boost to that defensive line and had some strong performances. Excited to see him continue to grow. You mentioned Robert Cooper as well, and he was a guy, whenever we were out there, we saw Odell being pretty hard on Coop. I mean, he had a couple tough spring scrimmages, and I remember at one point, he was doing up downs at the end of practice while Odell was talking to the rest of the guys. So, excited that first three, really excited to see them. And then after that, it's going to be up to Florida State to find some depth to take up the other snaps.
And I know you guys mentioned Keir Thomas for the defensive ends. I think it's important to mention him as part of the tackles too, because I think we're going to see him a lot on pass rush sets, sliding inside and rushing from the interior like we saw him do at South Carolina. So I think it's important to mention him here. But like you said, the depth behind the main three is a little concerning, but there's talent.
Yeah, I'm excited for Dennis Briggs. Like you said, D-Lou, I was really looking forward to seeing him last season, but he decided to opt out and take care of family. He comes back near the latter of the season, comes in great shape, plays first game and plays a good amount of snaps and plays well. And I think that's going to be a big time. It's not going to be a depth guy. He's going to play and start a few games, I think, this upcoming year. He played well, and he's going to be a force, definitely, in the running game. I thought he was solid last year. So I'm excited for number 6 up there at the front. I think there's some sleepers, and it's can't blame anybody for not being so excited maybe for Lovett or some other names on the defensive tackle group, because there just really wasn't that great of play last year. You got to hope. You've got to hope that there's an improvement there. There's got to be. It has to be, or this defense is going to struggle once again. You're not going to crack into that top 50. You're just not going to in the country as a defense. So that pass rush has got to be better.
Yeah, and right now on the interior, you're really relying on Lovett, Cooper, and Briggs to stay healthy. Austin, you said it, but outside of that, there's not any proven depth. I mean, True Thompson, he's played some snaps here and there. Jarrett Jackson transferred in from Louisville last year. I don't believe he saw the field, and if he did, it wasn't very much. And Malcolm Ray, same thing. A guy came into Tallahassee as a touted high school prospect with a lot of potential. Was impressive during his redshirt year during practice. I believe he was like the practice player of the year or something like that, but it just hasn't yet translated onto the field. And then finally, the guy I think I like the most of the reserves is true freshman Joshua Farmer, another guy who, whenever we were out there, he had some impressive showings in the spring. So, those guys, Odell has just got to figure out how to get them to continue to grow and make that next step on the field.
Yep. Let's move into the next position group here, gentlemen. Linebackers. This is an interesting one. You're bringing back your veteran guy with Emmett Rice. We'll see if he's fully ready to go. It was concerning to see him in the spring limping. It seemed to be a knee injury that he was dealing with. Although lately we've seen that he's kind of been jumping around and looks like he might potentially be maybe limited, if not a full go for fall camp. We shall see. But that is going to be a leader and a veteran there that finished off the season very well. Played the run game defense very nicely to finish off the season. We'll see if he's fully ready to go. But then after that, guys, it kind of gets really young. You're looking at 2 big-time guys. You got DJ Lundy along with Steven Dix Jr., who got a lot of PT last year. A lot of people are hyped about Steven Dix Jr., and there's some things that, looking back at film, there's a lot of missed assignments and reads and such and not filling the right gap. But he's a dude that, is an extremely impressive physical-wise. But you look and, it's hard to get on him, in my opinion, for Steven Dix Jr. I think a lot of people inside the Discord were kind of talking about him today, and I just don't fully give anybody after last season a hard rep. I mean, you're getting thrown in there as a true freshman. There's a reason why Coach Marvin Norvell and Adam Fuller wanted him in there, is just to kind of get that college football experience. But this year, it's got to change, and he's got to get his reads and assignments better, because there's a lot of potential in this group between those young linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, we're critiquing a true freshman playing in a COVID year who didn't get a full spring or a full off season. It's just not, it's not fair. Last year was a year unlike any other that we've ever seen in college football. Like you said, Logan, it's really hard to fault a lot of guys on their performance. But I think the big thing is looking at the steps that Steven Dix Jr. has made this offseason, which is continuing to bulk up his body. I think everyone has seen this stuff floating around on Twitter today that he's up to 240 pounds of literally pure muscle. Like if I punched him, my hand would probably break. So, he's developed his body in the weight room. A big negative on him last year was just taking the wrong angles on tackles. And we saw that improve a little bit more in the spring. And it's just, it comes with awareness and playing snaps and continuing to grow. And he's just so young, but there's so much potential. And I think being able to take stuff away from Emmett Rice and the career that he's had at Florida State and Amari Gainer, learning from the experiences that they've had is only going to benefit him.
Yeah, I'm looking at Amari Gainer too. We talked about him just a little bit ago, but Gainer too is going to play a pivotal role in that defense in the linebacker unit this upcoming year. He can go east and west, north and south very quickly. They don't like how he was used this last season, and if he's not used correctly again, there will be a few tweets like there were last year. But just that's a talented guy, man. He's still a little bit raw, and he's one of the most physical guys on the defense. But I just feel like there was some places last year where he shouldn't have been. Underutilized, I guess I would say. That'd be my definition of him last year. There's got to be a fix for that heading into this upcoming year for number 33, that Tallahassee native, Childs High School.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, there was a couple games where his usage was a little weird. Like they were only using him in like the red zone and like his snaps were kind of limited in some games. It was strange.
Lot.
But
there was some games where we had to talk after the game, D-Lou, I know, when we were doing instant reaction. We're like, did 33 see the field? What happened? What's going on? It was weird. I was like, what's going on?
It's obvious, this coaching staff, the staff and the players last year on that defense, it just didn't really feel like they were on the same page. They weren't meshing with one another. And whether that is just a product of not having spring practice and being able to install that new defense, or not having the full offseason, not being in person together all the time, a lot of those things they had to do virtually for a little bit. We'll see, because now they've had that full process this year, and there's a lot of positive vibes coming out from everything that we've heard, and excited to see as they transition into camp, is that going to keep happening, or are we going to start hearing bad things about the defense now? Because really it's going to be up to them to step up. This defense, it was terrible last year. I mean, let's be honest. And if they can work their way back to being an average to even an above average unit, I mean, think about the benefit that will have for Florida State on the field.
It'd be pretty bad, I think. It was really, 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 really rough to watch last season. It was really tough to come on here on a show, and now we'll be live streaming, so that's even scary to think. And we might have to, I don't know, I'm gonna have to watch out. But
this is a defense that allowed 456.3 yards per game in 9 games last year.
Yeah,
it was be hard to be worse than that.
Yeah, I mean, it was the worst. Like, Nate would come on here and say, this is the worst defense I have ever seen. And Nate is just, he eats his oatmeal and such. So he's a little bit older than us, and he's seen a lot of different, more defenses than us, I should say. But, it was atrocious. Last year was embarrassing to watch, and you just don't think of that as a Florida State defense. But not to go on a rant here, but there's some optimism. A spring should help Fuller, right? Maybe. We'll see. Please, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So let's jump into the DB position group here before we head into some special teams to finish off this breakdown. First off, let's jump into some names. Who's going to be the 2 starting corners? We talked about this 2 weeks ago on the show. One of my top concerning things is going to be who is going to be your 2 starters there, because you lose Asante Samuel Jr. He's off to the NFL with the Chargers and is going to have a good season, rookie season, I think. And that is a talented guy, and I think in this season, I think Florida State fans are going to miss Asante Samuel Jr. out there on that field. I really do think so. But you are bringing back returning guys that saw the field last year with Jerry and Jones, You got Miko Dotson also out there. You got Jarvis Brownlee. There's returning guys. There's always going to be talent on Florida State's on the DB room. You never have to worry about that. But I think it's really the problem here for Coach Woodson and Fuller is figuring out who fits where the best. Which guy is going to work, the boundary, which guy is going to be on the opposite side. That's going to be the biggest question mark. Who goes to nickel? But I think there's some optimism for this DB room, just question marks on who fits where the best. And that's going to be my number one concern heading to the fall camp, keeping an eye on how that competition goes. I'm interested to see who they trot out there first because, D'Lo, if I remember, it was Jerrion Jones and Brownlee, the two starting corners that we saw at the first scrimmage. And then I believe it was Jamie Robinson kind of in that nickel spot, if I'm correct, unless it was Travis J.
Yeah, it was either Jamie or Brandon Moore. It was one of the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, this DB room is something to keep an eye on with this fall camp because that is a huge question mark about who's going to be those starters.
And there's a lot of depth. It's not even just the starters. You didn't even mention Akeem Dent, who's had a really good freshman year, was banged up last year. You have a transfer from UCF and Brandon Moore. And there's a lot of depth in the secondary. How it shakes out as far as two starters, I would still prefer Brownlee to go in the nickel, and then you figure out your outside two, whether it's Jerrion and Dent or whoever. But there's a ton of talent there. Just how it shakes out, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this is probably one of the most talented positions on the roster. Not a lot of veteran depth. I mean, obviously, you've got Brandon Moore and Miko Dotson, who are going to be seniors who both transferred into Florida State. But outside of that, it's a lot of younger guys who are really just continuing to grow. I mean, you think about the flashes that we saw from Travis J. He looked like he could be an elite college defensive back last year, and he's just got to keep putting it all together. A guy I'm really excited about, Logan, who we got to see during the spring, was Jamie Robinson, who is he's built like a linebacker playing defensive back, and he's going out there to knock your head off. So really excited to see what he can bring after transferring in from South Carolina.
Yeah, no, Jamie looked great during that spring scrimmage that we got to see him. I thought he looked great in red zone. And, the only few passes that were sent his way were deflections. And coming in as a transfer like that impresses me a lot. You're getting thrown out there with the starting group right away. That right there impresses me. And I like the way he's came in. He looks great. He's built well. And he's a guy that I think Florida State is going to have trotting out there really early on against Notre Dame. But you're stacked there in the safety room too, guys. I mean, like we were talking about, you've got Renardo Green. Does Akeem? We'll see in fall camp. There's some rumors maybe Akeem Dent. Does he trot back out there to safety during this upcoming season or fall camp? And then Brennan Gant, who big hitter. If things work well and he gets down, not making mistakes here and there and causing flags, that is a guy that is extremely talented at the safety position. You got Travis J2 returning, who will be a starter there.
Got the freshman Sidney Williams, who had some flashes.
Yep, exactly. So that not even the corner positions, but also the safety room. You've got depth, and there's going to be competition. And there's one outlier. There's a guy called Damari Tate, who gets questioned. That's one of our biggest things on YouTube, Instagram. What's going on with Damari Tate? Where's he at? No one's talking about him, but he dealt with a whole spring injury. Didn't get to see him play. Haven't got to see him play in his freshman year due to a gray shirt situation. But if he's fully healthy, that seems to be one of the most talented guys in that defensive backfield.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And, it looks like he might be, I don't know if he's going to be a full go, but it looks like he's off the scooter. And I can't remember if he was wearing a brace or not on one of the most recent pictures I saw of him. I think they were like at District 850 or doing something. But either way, he looked like he was in a lot better shape than whenever he was on that scooter with the cast on back whenever we saw him during the spring game. Like you said, I mean, this was a guy, I can't remember if he was a 5-star or he was right on the cusp of being a 5-star coming out of high school, and really the crown jewel of Mike Norvell's first recruiting class at Florida State. Didn't get to play last year while working on academics, but I mean, all the potential in the world to be that next great defensive back at Florida State, and it's just going to come down to getting past those injury woes.
Yeah, that's the thing with him. Like you said, D-Lou, at the end of his recruitment, man, there was a lot of schools, big-time schools out of the SEC that were after him. I believe Alabama. Yeah, like they were heavily after him, and they were thinking, if he had been seen a little bit more in camps, he was going to move into that 5-star range. But that's why I think, we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of question marks going into this fall camp, definitely on the defensive side, but overall, even on the offense that, we're going to get very soon. And Damari Tate is one of them. Is he going to be trying out there full 100%? Is he going to be limited? There's a lot of things. It seems like majority, though, going into camp, this team is pretty healthy, which is a good thing to hear. That's a great thing. And knock on wood, if I have any, I'll probably get canceled. I've got to find. All right, I do have wood. This is wood. We'll knock on it right here, so we're good. I won't get canceled here whenever something hits the fan. But that DB room, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun to cover that, and we'll be hearing some scoop on that starting Saturday. Let's move into a little bit of special teams quickly to finish this off. Dustin Lewis, you have long snapper down here. Grant Glennon, one of the best players in FSU history, decides to transfer from Florida State. Best of luck to him. He is gone. What is going to be the answer, Mark, here at long snapper for Florida State?
Man, let me tell you, I am.
What are they going to do?
This has been keeping me up at night. I am worried. Grant Glennon, he spurned us for Eastern Kentucky. I mean, come on, Grant. I know they paid for your grad school or something, but come on. So now
devastating blow.
Now the long snappers on the roster. You've got Garrett Murray, who was here last year as well, backed up Grant Glennon. And then you've got James Rosenberry, a transfer in from Maryland, who John Papuchis has actually been able to work with in the past. So, I mean, this is a thrilling battle. You've got a guy who's experienced in Florida State special team system versus a guy who Papuchis has worked with and has all the talent in the world coming in from Maryland. So, I mean, I'm really excited for this one. I think one of these guys probably could win Snapper of the Year moving forward. And, the cream rises to the top. We're just going to have to see on this one. But I'm going to go Rosenberry.
Wow. Is that just because of the fun, cool name? Or is that because of the relationship with Coach Pap?
I think he's coming here for a reason. He ain't coming here to sit on the bench. He transferred in to set records.
So we'll keep an eye on that close competition here. If we just had more time on the show, we'd probably dive into it for about 20 more minutes. But sadly... Okay, don't bring that back. Please don't bring back that motion with your hands. Never, ever again. I'm glad there's people that listen to this on the podcast. They don't have to see it on the live show. But anyways, let's jump into also punter and also kicker. So you've got the Australian, Alex Mastromino. I hope I said that name right. I think I did pretty good on it, guys. Is that Mastromino? I think that's pretty good.
Don't ask Dustin.
I just call him the punter from down under.
I knew it was coming. Hate you.
That makes me want to get off the stream, but I can't. Yes, so he comes back up and down season last year. He does have a leg, man. He does have a leg. We'll see how he does in his second season under Coach Norvell. Special teams is a big time thing for FSU. If you're a starter, you're still, you're still going to be implemented in some of those packages, and they were very successful on kick blocking too. If you think about it, that's what really kept them in that game with North Carolina, and that's what helped them beat North Carolina. If that didn't happen, they weren't going to beat the Tar Heels. But Florida State is very heavily with special teams, and you look at kicker now, and this is going to be an interesting one here. I think it's going to be a competition once again between you've got Fitzgerald, comes into his second season, and then you've also got, well, actually third, if you think about it, and then you've also got Rothaus.
Yeah, like you said, this is another thrilling battle that we're going to get to witness in fall camp. Mm-hmm. Both of these guys went 4 out of 7 from they were both 4 out of 7 from field goal last season. So, I mean, obviously you're looking for a guy who's going to come in, set himself apart, and be more consistent. Florida State haven't had the best, how do you say it? They haven't had really good field goal kicking. I guess that's how I would say it. The last couple of years,
it's been inconsistent. Yeah,
things in well with Ricky, obviously, and I'd really love to see that be a turnaround because I think it can just help the offense. Hit the chip shots.
Yeah. I'm a complete clown. That's why I was kind of questioning myself when I said third or second year, just to make sure before I do get canceled and I lose everything at NoleGameday. I meant to say second year for Ryan Fitzgerald. My bad. Shout out to number 88. Hope he stays healthy. But that is going to be a thrilling battle this fall camp between Grothaus, who's a walk-on, and you got Ryan Fitzgerald. Huh?
This is his third year, though.
Well, I guess I was right then. Yeah. So damn, I am smart. So I'm going to go back and say to clown Logan, you're not a clown. I take that back for myself.
You're still a clown.
Thank you for that. Let's move real quick. We don't have a place here, but kick return and punt return. I think for me right now, answer at punt return is going to be Travis J. And then you move to kick return, and that's going to be Corey Wren and also Travis J / kind of Qae'shon Helton. That's what we were looking at during the spring scrimmages. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody, D-Lou. Was Jammy? Was Jammy also at kick return?
There was a couple different guys who were out there each practice catching punts and kicks. Let me see if I can.
I'm trying to think of some names. I know Qae'shon Helton. You got Travis J, Corey Wren, Jamie Robinson. I should know that. That's my last name, but I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one more name that kind of surprised us.
Jashawn Corbin, Ja'Kai Douglas, Corey Wren, Jordan Young, Travis J, Miko Dotson, Jamie Robinson, and Qae'shon Helton were all returning punts prior to the spring scrimmage.
So Miko Dotson surprises me. That's the name that stands out, in my opinion. Out of all that group, you have a corner right there returning both punt / kickoff return. I'm just trying to get a feel. So, if we see them trot out, it's not going to be so much of a crazy surprise. But
yeah, I think Ja'Kai Douglas, Corey Wren, Travis J, and Qae'shon Helton should all really be in that mix.
I was most recently told from a source inside the program that Ja'Kai Douglas is one of the fastest guys on the team. He could compete with Corey Wren. I don't think that's fully true with Corey Wren, but he is one of the fastest in that top 2, top 3 on the team as one of the fastest. So it would make sense, though, for him getting some burn in practices and scrimmages at kick return along with punt return, but really kick return, utilizing that speed. If you see Corey Wren and also Douglas out there, you know why.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. He was another guy out of Louisiana in the same class as Corey Wren, and I believe he ran track as well. Not to mention played all over the field on his offense: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner. So I mean, this is a guy who, has been productive based off his athleticism, and I think that's just going to continue at Florida State. We saw him make a couple plays during his true freshman season, including that touchdown against Duke.
Yep, absolutely. So special teams, Norvell, as we know, he stated that in his incoming intro to press conference to Florida State. Special teams is going to be a big time focus. There was some success last year and some improvement, and we'll see who they're going to utilize there in kick return and punt return. But it seems like it's kind of going to be a mix of a Travis J / Corey Wren show for your main guys there. But, that's going to kind of wrap it up for the defensive position breakdown / special teams, gentlemen. And that's, these guys are going to be reporting back into town tomorrow with the team. Any kind of last thoughts before fall camp? I'm excited for it. We're going to be giving bat caves, meaning we'll be jumping into voice channels after every practice. That night, we'll be giving some scoop on what we're hearing. So that's always a big hit. We got to use about 50 of y'all listening every night of the scoop that we're hearing. But this is going to be a really fun fall camp. You got a quarterback competition. You've got Jermaine Johnson, who looks like he was kind of unstoppable, which is not so great to hear regarding offensive line, but he had a great spring. You got 2 corners that you need, who's going to be starting. A lot of fun storylines, because if you think about it, your top wide receiver is also Andrew Parchment. They're this starting group on both sides is this starting group right here. The starting offensive defense, there's a lot of transfers that we've never seen play for Florida State that will be trotted out against Notre Dame.
And one of those transfers, long snapper James Rosenberry. Book it. Most impressive player of fall camp.
All right, let's move on now from that and get out of that because that just wasn't what I was looking for. Anything that you're looking forward to, Austin? Last little remarks before we get after it.
I'm just ready for actual football instead of, talk and weight rooms and players' weights.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm just ready to see. We'll actually get actual football footage. I can't wait.
We don't have to be like, hey, look, Steven Dix Jr.'s 7th ab is developing. That's what Logan's sent in our group chat.
If you would get closer to your mic, we'd all be able to hear you. So
I heard him.
Yeah,
I can repeat it if you need me to.
I didn't hear it fully, but you want to talk about a guy's abs or something? Austin?
You love to do it, so I'll leave the floor.
I don't talk about abs. I talk about weight and how much they're gaining, and how built they are. That's how it goes in football. You don't want to have twigs out there. Twig Austin. Oh man, this is going off the rails. Let's move into a little. Let's bring up a question. We haven't had a live question here in a minute. This is something that has been talked about for quite a bit. It's been a chat in the Discord for a little bit, but former 5-star running back Kalen LeBourne, got let go from Florida State from Coach Norvell in his first season before even the football season began. A guy extremely talented coming in, but just seemed like there were some things holding him back and personal issues. Chris G asked, what's up with the running back LeBourne coming back? And, I've known this for a while that he's been enrolled since the spring at FSU. He stayed at the spring. He hasn't transferred anywhere. Seems like his grades are great, but, to me, the whole LeBourne thing, that's just not happening. That's just not what Norvell, unless something happens, but I just don't think it's happening. I think what he's going to do is end up graduating from Florida State and looking at a school to transfer to play ball.
And Logan, you're actually in class with him, right?
Last semester I was.
Oh, it's a new semester already? Jesus.
Yeah, it goes by quick. But yeah, I just don't see this happening. The stable right now at depth at running back is just not going to happen. But
I don't even think it's a question. I think the only reason that he's still at Florida State is just this is where he has been doing his academics. And I believe one of his posts on Twitter the other day was that he had just earned his associate's degree. So that means he could be trying to find somewhere to transfer to, maybe for the fall or, even for next season, where that's a JUCO spot to rebuild his stock or what have you. But I don't think it's in the cards for him to return to this Florida State roster, and I don't even think it's been a topic of discussion.
No, I don't think there's been kind of a thing. Maybe I really don't think he's even. Maybe he has, but even tried to contact Norvell or staff, trying to get a second chance there. And he's a talented guy, and you wish him all the best. I'd go back and look back at the spring game and how well he did there, and his famous quote and such, and the fan base was pulling for him, but just things didn't work out, and it stinks. And you're also competing with now a guy that's in the NFL with Cam Akers too, and it just was kind of an interesting area, and health reasons too with injuries caused him to miss some time, and it stinks, and he gets let go from the Florida State football program, and I don't know, I just don't. That's just not. Whenever I kind of hear that on social media or I see in the Discord, I kind of just say it's not even a question, like you said, D-Lou. Don't see it happening. So I do wish him all the best, though, too. I think from what I've heard, I've heard some really good things about him, just things personally, just to take care of. Austin, you get to finish us off here. You get to give us the best rundown that you've had in a long time, because guess what? We were all wrong. And I blame you primarily because I don't ever know what the heck I'm talking about for NBA stuff. So I'm looking at you right now, and you screwed us with the Scotty Barnes. You screwed us with the Scotty Barnes. Like, I was just already ready to just celebrate, but you screwed me, Austin.
To be fair, if you read my Discord.
Here we go.
I did say 95% Orlando, but don't be surprised if Toronto takes him.
Oh,
Toronto took him.
You made that edit after the pick.
I did not edit that.
He edited it. Let's look at the logs.
Original notes. You can check it. I was surprised, honestly. Even though I said don't be surprised, I was shocked.
Yeah, me too.
Because even ESPN was shocked because they had the camera set on Jalen Suggs. And he got up cheering, and Scotty Barnes freaking out, screaming. It was great to see, back-to-back years, the player that wears number 4 for Florida State goes 4th in the draft after being 6th man of the year. At that point, you're just recruiting yourself. Florida State's done a phenomenal job developing these guys and getting them NBA ready. Even if I don't love the fit in Toronto, it's a way better fit than had he gone to Orlando, which I think is going to help him a lot. He's going to a really great culture. They've already got OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. They've got a couple of vets in that locker room that can really develop him. Obviously, you got a really great front office with Masai Ujiri there, a great head coach, and Nick Nurse, who's, in my opinion, is one of the 5 best coaches in the league. I think it's of where the destinations we're going to talk about. I think it was the better of the two between them and Orlando.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Nick Nurse, and he's done a really good job of developing young talent the last couple of years. You look at the steps that Pascal Siakam has taken over his young career, and I think Scotty Barnes could really follow a similar path, as long as everything works out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got the tools, he's got the length, he's got the size, and now you look at that defensive ability between Siakam, Anunoby, and Scotty. Good Lord, good luck scoring on those 3. Just any given night, they're going to lock down your 3 best players. It kind of looks like they saw Brooklyn and went, "Oh, you got 3 great scorers. Here's 3 great defenders. Have fun."
That shot one of them can hit a jump shot.
Eventually, Siakam made some growth there. Anunoby's a solid 3-point shooter. If Scotty can get that, I don't know if you guys saw his workout video that the Raptors posted. His shot looks much faster, much smoother, more fluid. It looks really good.
He's been working.
He's really been working. And that confirms what we've been hearing, leading up to the draft, that teams are comfortable where his jump shot's at right now. So we'll see. I think Toronto's going to love him. They love guys with energy like they did with Chris Bosh, in the 2000s. I think Scotty's going to be a very similar type of player for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for Scotty.
Yeah. Going to be interested to see how they use him during the summer league, whether that's playing off the ball at the 4 or whether they actually let him handle it a little bit.
And it's cool for him that as soon as he gets to Toronto, he's taking a picture with Drake. Like, how cool is that got to be? You got Drake shouting you out on Instagram.
I saw that. I had to tweet it. That was pretty crazy. I love that.
Especially for a kid that just turned 20, like the weekend of the draft. Yeah, just casually hanging out with Drake. No big deal.
I mean, I just think about it, being drafted by Toronto, you're basically being drafted by an entire country in Canada, with that being their only NBA team. And I mean, they're diehards up there. We saw it 2 years ago whenever they won the finals. So, a really great fan base that Scotty is joining. And, I can't imagine the amount of love that he's getting now going up to Canada, but he better buy a coat.
And hopefully they stay in Toronto, because they had to play this last season in Tampa because of COVID.
Yeah.
I really hope they can stay at Toronto. It was great that they're in Tampa because it was a big reason why they took Scotty, because they were able to see him game after game in Tallahassee. I really hope he can play in front of a Toronto crowd that's as passionate as any fan base in the league.
Yeah, well, the thing with him, it was extremely fun to watch him play. He's explosive and entertaining, and you go into the Raptors, who has a strong fan base. I think it'll be a fun fit there. And were you shocked that he was a top 4 overall pick? To you, Austin? I know D'Lo's given him such a hard time, but was it a shock? Like, all right, so if I'm basing it back to where he was coming into Florida State, would you think that guy is worth a top 4 pick, top 5 pick?
I mean, depending on the recruiting site you looked at, he was a top 5 recruit. I think ESPN had him 5th, 24/7 Rivals had him 7th, if I'm remembering correctly. So it wasn't like with Patrick Williams where he was like 20th overall recruit and he ends up being the 4th overall pick. This is a guy that's been hyped up for years, playing alongside Cade Cunningham, who went number 1 overall, Moses Moody, who went 14th overall to the Warriors in this draft. It's not like he came out of nowhere to go top 5. He's got a phenomenal skill set and a phenomenal frame. 6'9", 230 that can play make does not grow on trees. I mean, that's a rare skill set. If he finds that jump shot, he's going to be in the league a very long time.
I mean, yeah, I've been tough on him, but I'm absolutely wishing Scotty the best. I want him to develop. I just thought, and I've said it before, I just thought we would get more out of him last year. But regardless, now that he's in the NBA, definitely going to be rooting for him, even though he's on the Raptors. So a couple games a year, I'm not going to be wishing for him to have his best performances. But, like I said before, excited to see how the Raptors use him in this summer league and what his role is going to be moving forward in this organization, because they're kind of they won that championship. Now they're kind of going into that retooling phase, and it's really going to depend a lot on Scotty. How he can grow, how he can develop could lead this franchise back.
Yeah, and he doesn't. The good thing is he doesn't have to be the primary scorer when you've already got Siakam and Fred VanVleet there. It's going to be like Florida State, where he's not going to be relied upon as the primary scorer, and I think that's going to fit him best. Whereas if he went to Orlando, they'd be asking him to score a lot more than he should have. Then going to the second round, Detroit surprising absolutely everybody, taking Balša Koprivica, 57th overall. I saw not one but two different NBA analysts call it the worst draft selection in the last 10 years, which I was pretty surprised about, because Balsha's got talent. I don't think anybody's going to deny that. He's got a ton of potential, ton of talent. I think had he stayed one more season, he's looking at a borderline first-round pick next year. He was just super unproven. I was very surprised to see him go ahead of Raekwon Gray, who went 2 picks later to the Nets, which I love the fit there. We'll talk about that in a second. But Balša going to Detroit was kind of surprising. I'm not going to lie. We had heard a little bit that there was late second round buzz for him, but I'd only really heard Charlotte, which ironically was the team that selected him before trading him to Detroit. He goes and joins Luka Garza, who is a great college player, but no one thinks he's going to have a very good professional career in the NBA, just not that athletic. And then he joins the number 1 overall pick in Cade Cunningham. They traded away Mason Plumlee, I believe, so they opened up a little bit of center room, but I know they still got Jeremy Grant, Isaiah Stewart, who they drafted first round last year. They've got some bigs. He's not going to play right away. He'll probably be in the G League for a year or two, and we'll see what happens there.
So what do you think his best case scenario is, going into Detroit this season? You think that's a 2-way deal?
Best case. Yeah, best case 2-way deal, which for those that don't know what a 2-way deal is, it's basically you get I think it's 36 days in the NBA, and then the rest of the time you spend in the G League. There's options where they could sign you for the remainder of the season, whatever. But that's probably best case, get a 2-way contract. We'll see how he performs in Summer League. He may just absolutely ball out in Summer League, because some of his workout tapes looked really good heading into the draft. But we'll see. I think absolute best case. I don't see him having a Terrence Mann kind of thing where he goes from playing from a 2-way contract to a guaranteed 4-year deal. That's extremely unlikely.
Yeah. I think Balsa's got a lot, but I don't know. The way, like you said, I think he could have, if he would have stayed another year, I think would have helped quite a bit. But yeah, it is what it is. Sometimes it's just not how it works.
I think he could fit the NBA game well. Because you think about how teams really like to play in transition now, push the pace. He could really be effective as that rim running big. He's really athletic. He's got good hands inside, an improved defender. We saw him a couple times last year, start to stretch it out with his jumper. So we'll see if Detroit tries to get him taking some shots from the outside. Like you said, Austin, there's a lot of potential there. We'll see if Detroit can mold him.
And he can even handle the ball a little bit. I mean, we saw him take the ball in transition more than a couple of times last season. He absolutely fits the modern game for a guy that's 7'1". For him to be able to stretch out to 18 feet, can handle the ball, give you a couple dribbles, and you're not worried about it. His free throw shot looks really good, which is a really great sign for him being able to spread the floor. Really, all the modern big has to do is set screens, roll to the rim, and not mess up on defense. That's really all you got to do. He's got really quick feet for someone of his size. We saw him plenty of times switch out on the perimeter and not get burnt, which is rare for someone of that size. So he's got a ton of potential. Whether he sticks, who knows? It's Detroit.
Who has a better chance, Balsa or Luka Garza?
Who knows? Because Garza was in such the perfect system for him at Iowa, where it was just him down low and 4 shooters. It was kind of like the Dwight Howard Magic days, except they're 2 completely different players, because Garza's more technically sound. he's going to hit you with a whole bunch of different moves, whereas Howard's just athletic, strong. He's going to power through you. But it's the same kind of system where if they suck in, he's intelligent enough to kick out to the open shooter. Iowa even had Joe Weisenkamp go early in the second round. So they had shooters. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the same for Detroit. He's going to get out-athleted, out-rebounded every single time up and down the floor. But he's talented enough. He's technically sound enough to where it wouldn't surprise me if he's stuck around.
Mm-hmm. Then the next guy right here, Raquan Gray, gets selected by the Nets, man. I think this is a pretty good pickup for the Nets here. I think it'll fit well. I'm really excited for Gray. I think he's got a lot of potential, in my opinion.
It's a great fit, like a phenomenal fit, because they needed guys who can play right away, and Turk can play right away. Yeah, there's stuff he has to work on, like his three-point shot, his turnovers, his fouling, but he's going to be going to places where he's not going to be relied upon like he was at Florida State. And there's so many times where he was initiating the entire offense for Florida State this past season. He's not going to have to do that if he's playing next to Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. And they just signed Patty Mills, who was a great signing for them. I thought it was a phenomenal fit. They also drafted Cam Thomas out of LSU, which is an absolute steal for a late first round. I think it's a great fit for Turk. He'll probably be in the G League for a year. Slim down his body, just get in shape. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you saw him make a major impact by his second season, because they just need guys that can play right away. They're cap strapped, paying Harden, Irving, and Durant over $100 million. They just needed guys who could play, and he can absolutely play.
And he's a good mid-range shooter. He's a solid three-point shooter. And like you said, with him not really being the focal point of that offense, being able to play off of superstars like Kyrie, KD, James Harden, I think that just, he'll be able to get open shots with guys double teaming those guys I just mentioned. And I think it could be a good fit for him. We'll just have to see. Like you said, Austin, I think he's definitely going to have to slim down a little bit to be able to play in the modern NBA with the way they just get up and down the court so fast nowadays. But I could see it end up working out.
What he needs to do is just go back and watch Spurs Boris Diaw tape and
That's
just
a good one.
Try to be him, because that'd be a perfect role for him in Brooklyn, where he can play off all the stars and just average 7 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and he'd kill it.
Even a guy maybe like Kyle Anderson.
Yeah, and like these are all guys that are great defenders as well. Diaw's a tremendous defender, not only in San Antonio but in Phoenix as well. Kyle Anderson, great defender, great playmaker for his size. That's the kind of player Turk needs to be. He doesn't need to try and step outside his boundary on that team.
Wow. And now I need to bring up a question here before he leaves away, Austin, real quick, because he's asked twice. Got to give him some love here. Any basketball recruiting news from Cookie 33?
Cook you?
I mean, the biggest news is Trey Donaldson, who's I know a lot of people hear him from football recruiting, but Florida State just offered him in basketball like a week and a half ago. And very soon after announced that he was going to be committing August 19th, I believe is the date. Things are looking pretty good for Florida State. He's AAU teammates with Gortman, who's a guy Florida State's after that I think they're probably going to land. He had a really good Peach Jam. I'd heard from the staff. They thought he had a phenomenal Peach Jam tournament in Atlanta, which is an AAU event there. I think things are trending really well for him. It's either Florida State or Auburn, in my opinion. He just picked up a Florida State future cast on Rivals this morning. Other than that, not too much.
Like you said on Donaldson, I've actually been working on trying to get in contact with him for an interview, just to kind of clarify his status, kind of see, because we've heard those rumors about maybe he's only going to play basketball now at the next level. So I just wanted to get him to lay everything out on the table and see how it's going. But excited for him just because he actually goes to my former high school. He plays at Florida High. So another guy recently came out of Florida High to Florida State, Raymond Woody. So excited to see the next one, and hopefully it's Trey Donaldson. I wanted to be Amari Harvey last year. Any guy from my former high school, Florida High, I will root for them. I don't care if he would have went to Florida. I don't care. I'm just saying. Sorry, random moment.
Hey, that's okay, Dustin. You're being nice and showing your whatever. Yeah. No. You're being nice. We care about what you say. I think. Do we? I don't know. But going off to kind of finish this off, VZ, I know we have here on the docket talking about Trent Forrest and also Devin Vassell starting their summer league. And, from what I saw on Twitter the other night that Trent Forrest looks pretty solid. Trent
is killing it. First game, he had 19 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, I believe. And through 2 games, I've got stats pulled up because, I'm a nerd. Through 2 games, he is plus 26. So just doing typical Trent Forrest stuff. Just absolutely killing it, averaging 14.5 points per game. So far, he's tied for 3rd in the Utah Summer League. But then Devin Vassell is not far behind. He's only played 1 game, but 14 points. Had a couple steals, had a really nice putback dunk. Just Florida State guys doing Florida State things. That's all it is. And speaking of those 2, I put it on Twitter last night that if you look back at that 2019-2020 team, 6 of those guys are already in the NBA. Just speaking of the talent that team had. You had Patrick Williams, who obviously went 4th overall, Vassell went 11th. Trent signed a 2-way contract and looked really good. Not only in the G League, but when he got minutes, he looked really good. Then this year, Ballshed and Raekwon Gray got drafted. And MJ Walker signed a Exhibit 10 contract with the Knicks a couple of days ago. Basically, it's ended up going to be a G League contract. But either way, you've already got 6 guys from that team that should have won a national championship, signed an NBA contract, getting close to rivaling the 2016-17 team, which had 6 or 7 guys sign NBA contracts and 3 more signed G League contracts. Just a very talented team. Speaks to the depth that Hamilton's brought in the last few years.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for that painful reminder.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But like, if Florida State wants good recruiting tools, they were the only ACC school to have a lottery pick 2 years in a row.
Yep.
They had the most draft pick, or they're tied for the most draft picks this year, and tied for the most draft picks the last 2 years with 5.
Good recruiting tools, in my opinion.
Only school with a lottery pick each of the last 2 years.
Wow.
Just saying, go to Florida State.
That's right. Austin VZ here on Hear the Spear, doing some recruiting, maybe for Donaldson live here at 10:30 at night.
Yeah, it's probably too late for Derek Whitehead, right?
Yeah,
for him.
Dang it, he didn't do good enough. You blew that for all of FSU. Thanks a lot, Austin VZ.
Which I guess we should mention. He did commit to Duke on Sunday. It's a shame.
Yeah, I was going to say, good thing whenever you moved your recruiting prediction, you just put it on uncertain and never put it on Florida State.
Well, I did. Yeah, I put it on, I had it on Duke, and then I just changed it to cloudy. I'm like, it's probably going to be Duke, but I'm going to leave it on cloudy for now.
Yeah. Ugh, it stinks. All right. It's all right, though. I think Florida State will be fine. There's a lot of guys, right? There's a bright future ahead for Leonard Hamilton. And like you said, the recruiting tools are going to help, I think. In the long run, it's going to help. But, gentlemen, is that it? Everything else? Anybody got last words or messages to family members or friends? You don't have any friends, Dustin, so I understand you shaking your head now, except for us.
Wow. I was about to say, he's got
what happened to you guys?
You think you're friends with us? That's a great question. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for listening. We've got some really exciting news to share next week on the show. Guys, fall camp also begins practically tomorrow and then also Saturday when the guys hit the field. This is where you're going to want to be, is patreon.com/NoleGameday. Me, along with Dustin, Nate, Mikey, everybody kind of in the Discord alone on staff is going to be dropping in some nuggets. The Bat Cave is something that we do practically 5 times a week almost. We'll jump in after practices and give you guys the inside scoop of what we're hearing about practice and how it went and such. And we got a quarterback competition to talk about too, which will be fun. So that is in our Patreon called patreon.com/NoleGameday. That's the link you can go to. Only $2.99 a month, the cheapest option out there right now. I highly suggest you guys take advantage of it. It has been rocking right now. Definitely tonight with my Steelers playing the Cowboys. I don't even want to know the score. I don't even want to look because I'm seeing tweets.
Well, say Stan or just said in the comments, touchdown.
I see. It does show that it looks like we might have just scored a touchdown. It feels like it's got to be 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Jesus. It's a little scary to think of. But anyways, make sure you guys are in that Discord. I highly suggest it. It's going to be crazy. the Discord just started this time kind of around last year, and we've got really cool things coming up this upcoming season to get you guys the best coverage and inside scoop, and a lot of it's going to stay inside that Discord. So we'll see you on there. As always, you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, everywhere. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're at. We definitely appreciate it. The YouTube has been absolutely blowing up, over 100,000 views in the last 28 days. I don't know what's going on, but definitely to all the YouTube people on here, we appreciate the support. And if you're on iTunes right now, definitely feel free to drop a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. But yeah, everybody have a great rest of y'all's week. Fall camp is finally here, gentlemen. Football season, baby. We've made it.
Almost.